Welcome back to Data Center News Asia. Just gonna have to deal with me today. Rhys is off in Madrid doing various different bits and pieces. I think some work related, some pleasure related, so he won't be joining me this week. A couple of really interesting stories, some really big blockbuster stuff, and then a couple of other interesting bits and pieces. We are going to go back over a week though. In fact, myself and Rhys, believe it or not, we missed a pretty big story which we touched upon when we were talking about some of the capital to go alongside it, but we actually missed the big story. So apologies to the NEXTDC team for that. But if you go back to their press release or their ASX release on the 20th of April, you'll see a pretty significant contract win here. So 247 megawatts, or approximately 250 megawatts, depending on how you read it, is a recent deal they have signed. Rumors in the press that this is all going towards S4. I think that would be well founded. That would be consistent with where you'd expect and where they would be able to deploy such a significant amount. Again, plenty of speculation as to who the client is, and you may have seen that in speculation by other press outlets as to who it is, which again would make sense just given their recent activity in and around Australia. But 250 megawatts, this is, certainly I can't think of any larger single deals to have happened across APAC. Maybe in China there could have been some with some of the kind of hyperscalers up there, like the likes of ByteDance or Ali. But taking China out of it, it's a very few, I think, that have, certainly to date, that have been at this scale. Yeah, so a significant win for the NEXTDC team, and on the back of that, which is actually what we touched upon, that there's going to be additional fundraising and things like that as they look to fund this. But a huge deal. So again, congratulations to everyone involved in that. Looking forward to seeing how quickly that gets deployed, because that would be a significant percentage of Australia's live capacity right there. So again, congratulations to everyone there. Moving on from NEXTDC, we're gonna go to another mega project. This time in India. So we've been reporting on this story for the last number of months now. At this stage, this is the Google $15 billion development in Vizag. So they held the groundbreaking ceremony last week on the 28th of April. So this is really the beginning of the project. A couple of the key stakeholders were joining Google. So obviously Google themselves were there, AdaniConneX and Nxtra. So this is what they describe as their gigawatt scale AI hub, and it's going to be 3 campuses with AdaniConneX and Nxtra leading the construction and the connectivity infrastructure. Yeah, a significant milestone in this project. Again, this is one which we're keeping a close eye on because it obviously is a pretty significant departure from certainly scale as to what they've done in country so far. Moving back now to Southeast Asia, so PDG, who again we spoke about last week in relation to capital raising or partial sell of the company, they're doubling down in Indonesia again. So they've announced a new site in Greater Jakarta, JC4. So this is in the Greenland International Industrial Center, GIIC. This is one of the industrial parks where both Microsoft and Amazon have got a significant presence, as well as quite a few of the other operators in the region. Yeah, one of the key AZ developments or clusters here. So JC4 secured a power allocation of 240 megawatts. So this will add to PDG's already pretty significant footprint in Indonesia. They've had a lot of joy recently with pretty significant leasing there as well. So congratulations to them. So yeah, JC1, JC2, they're smaller sites, part of the acquisition. The first one was part of an acquisition, so that's their 25 megawatts. JC2 launched 2024, so only 2 years ago. Gives you a scale of how fast things are developing. And then JC3, which is 120 megawatts. This is what I was referring to in terms of some of the leasing that they had last year, also in GIIC Industrial Park. So that phase is going live this year. So yeah, really doubling down on Indonesia and making significant progress in what is quietly a very busy market, not quite grabbing the headlines of Johor or even Thailand now, but significant take up in the last couple of years. So like we're reporting close enough to 200 megawatts of take up there last year. which kind of flew under the radar, just with Johor and Thailand grabbing a lot of the headlines. But yeah, a market which is growing very quickly at the moment. And two of my colleagues will be down there. Vivian and Koen will be down there this week, so grab them at the W Media show if you want to chat Indonesia or anything data center related. Moving on, speaking of Johor, we're now going to go back to our friends at AirTrunk, who again have announced they're going to develop an additional 280 megawatts of capacity in Johor as well. So this will be what's the name of the convention? JHB3 and JHB4. So JHB1, that's their initial one. Obviously, that was launched 2024 around this time too. Yeah, does it say it here? Yeah, July 2024. So that initial phase was 50 megawatts. That's obviously scaled out to over 150 now at this stage. The sister site, or the one across the road, that's additional 270 megawatts. That was announced February 2025. So once JHB3 and JHB4 get built, that will be over 700 megawatts of IT and nearly $7 billion invested in Malaysia, which, comparing it to Australia, currently what they have live is, I have to double check the numbers, but pretty similar, which I think is interesting to see, just an interesting comparison, bearing in mind the Johor market wasn't really a thing more than 3 years ago, just how quickly that scaled up in the size of the projects there. So again, congratulations to the AirTrunk team on that piece. There was another AirTrunk piece, yeah, hot on the heels of their rooftop installation in Johor last week. They also got done the same thing at D1, which is obviously their first Sydney site. This is adding additional megawatt of capacity, so nothing huge, but as we mentioned last week, all adds up. So again, congratulations on that piece. I think we're moving on to finance stories now. Yes. Yeah, last week we reported that Princeton Digital and I've forgotten who else we mentioned. Princeton Digital and Bain. So Bain is obviously British data centers. We're looking at a potential divestment or options for getting additional investment in. This week it is Digital Edge who are the ones who are looking to be weighing up options for investment. So again, our friends at Bloomberg, who are citing people familiar with the matter, reports that they're looking at exploring options, including the sale, with the potential value reaching $10 billion. So not quite at the AirTrunk numbers, but obviously still pretty significant, especially since they only were founded in 2020. So again, they've built a significant platform across a lot of key markets across the region and some of the emerging markets, such as Philippines. So another one to keep an eye on to see, what they do from a financing point of view. This, last but not least, this is a I don't think we've talked about this before on Data Center News Asia. Carbon removal, I should say, deal with Climeworks. So this is NTT Data. They've signed an agreement with Climeworks, who are carbon removal firms. So what's the interesting piece here? This is, rather than minimizing their carbon footprint, they're actually trying to remove some carbon as well, which aims to support NTT's net zero 2020 plan, which aims to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions across its entire value chain, scopes 1, 2 and 3 by 2024. So interesting to see if this is just a once-off, or if this actually is a technology which other data center operators really get behind. There's a few examples in the article which I'm reading here, but I don't think it's seen widespread adoption yet. So like I said, interesting to see if this kind of technology becomes part of the solution, because it's difficult with the crazy demands that AI is placing on carbon commitments at the moment, and a lot of them are obviously getting pushed back. So if this is a viable solution, maybe we'll see it rolled out across multiple projects and it will become a staple. A lot to prove, very novel technology, but let's wait and see. So that's everything for this week. I think you'll have to deal with me again next week. I think Rhys will still be away for next week. But if we've missed anything, or if you want to get involved in the comments, please do. Always good when we've got a bit of an argument going on down there. But otherwise, thanks for watching and have a good week ahead. Bye.